My name is Russell Hoff. I was a section sergeant with M Company 422nd Infantry, heavy machine guns.
Were you enlisted or were you drafted?
I was drafted.
Did you agree to war? Did you agree to go to war in so far away, or was it kind of against you?
No, I felt it was my duty.
What was your duty?
To serve the country.
And where were you placed in Belgium? Where were you located in Belgium?
We were up in the Schneeifel, inside of Schoenberg, up on the old German fortifications. And the line was in there.
Was it your first time in battle?
Yes. We had been trained since March of 1943 as a full infantry division, having going through almost a year's training, going through Tennessee maneuvers for 3 months, and just before D-Day in April, they took over 7,000 of the men we trained with to fill the ranks of the divisions that were to make the D-Day invasion.
Yes.
I consider myself maybe a little lucky because I was made a section sergeant in November of '43, and in doing so they took anybody was from a sergeant down, they ended up going to as replacements to fill in the divisions over there.
How did they make you sergeant? What was do you know why they made you a sergeant? Was there any experience in school or anything?
I don't know. I really don't know. Sometimes when we first went in, it looked like they took every 10th person and put a ribbon on their arm and said, "You're going to be acting non-com."
Okay.
So I guess it was just not a process of elimination, but a process of advancement through the ranks that I ended up being a sergeant. We didn't take any special examinations. I guess it was under the observation of our company officers that advanced us.
Okay. And so, what was your experience like in the Battle of the Bulge?
Our short-lived battle was only from the 16th to the 19th of December, where we ended up on the 16th at 5:30 in the morning. We were heavily shelled with German artillery. We didn't experience any real frontline combat in the nature that you can see your enemy. They had infiltrated through our outfit, so they were all around us. We didn't know whether they were in back of us, in front of us. It seemed every place we moved, we'd bump into them. And we had sporadic fire, rifle fire. Very seldom had a chance to set up our defensive positions with the machine guns because they just constantly kept us on move.
Yeah.
They seemed to know where we were at because sporadically we were shelled with artillery and mortar fire, which kept us moving that way. But for 4 days we just were without, you might say, control from any official officers or anything like that.
What was going through your mind? I mean, there must have been a lot of fear, but was there a lot of thinking back, like flashbacks or anything like that, or was it just straight on?
I flash back. I don't think there's a day that something doesn't flash through your mind.
Yeah.
You know, it's something you learn, I guess over the years you learn to live with. You ask yourself sometimes why it happened, how it happened, what were your commanding officers thinking about putting us up on a 27-mile front where you had to yell to see the guy that was alongside of you. And, it makes you wonder what their strategy was. You know, unfortunately, as far as being fearful, I was scared to death.
I'm sure, yeah.
You know, those kind of things happen. You see your comrades being hit and killed. I don't think as things are happening, I don't think you really think about it happening to yourself, because I think everybody figures they're going to be the survivor.
Okay.
You know, and you try to do what we're trained to do. You know, after the initial shock wears off on you, you kind of start to take account of what's going on around you.
Right.
But we just didn't have the time or the organization. We were just so thoroughly disrupted. You see tanks and you wonder how can you stop a tank with a rifle? You know, things like that you just have no defense against.
So were you taken prisoner, or did you escape? Or
no, we were taken prisoner on the 19th, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, just outside of Schoenberg. We had been given orders 2 days before that to try to work our way down to Schoenberg, because it was the only bridge that was available for us to get across the river. But unfortunately, the Germans had the day before that had completely swung around in back of us and trapped us up there. It was unknown to us.
Right.
So as we tried to get down, we constantly run into the German fire. So you really had. They sent over a truce team and demanded us to surrender. I think they told us that we had 20 minutes to lay down our arms, so they were going to open up artillery fire on us. And as far as I know, our commanding officers, our regimental commander, they figured we had been without food for 3 or 4 days. We were running out of ammunition, and we just didn't have any defensive means to take care of things. They accept their ultimatum, and we became guests of the German government for the next 4 months.
okay.
I was moved they hiked us through Koblenz, was it? To Gerolstein without stopping. They just changed guards along the road, and we marched all night and clean into the next day. I would say approximately maybe 60 miles. They loaded us in boxcars. Ended up on Christmas Eve in the middle of I can't think of the name of the town now. Mainz, Germany. Christmas Eve, I'll never forget that. People ask me what I remember about Christmas. Well, we were bombed by the British while we were locked in the boxcars. Some of the guards left out of the cars. Others, they didn't. We couldn't get out of our car, and we had to go through all the concussions and the banging around in the cars. It was so crowded in there that there was no sitting room in them. If you were sitting down, you got up, you lost your space. Had to be about 50 of us in those cars. We spent, I think, the next 2 days still locked in, and ended up to Bad Orb. Spent the rest of December, January at Bad Orb. Somewhere near the end of December or January, two of the fellas, the GIs, broke into the German kitchen and killed one of the guards in there. And they took us out the next day and lined us up for almost 8 hours. They made us stand outside in the cold. Brought 2 trucks up and dropped the tailgates and had machine guns lined up. That they threatened to shoot us, kill us if we didn't turn in the ones that killed the guard in there. But I really don't know until I'd say maybe 10 years ago I read an article in our National POW book that the fellas that did kill them were caught. I don't know whatever happened to them.
Yeah.
It was quite an experience to go through. And when you're totally at their mercy, whatever they wanted to do, there's nothing we could have done to prevent it. I think I weighed 195 pounds when I was taken prisoner. I ended up with 135 when I was liberated. We were the first camp in Germany to be liberated on Good Friday, March the 30th. Spent Easter Sunday with the 106th Infantry Division. They turned their kitchens and things over to us and tried to feed us. But we had to go back into the German rations of thin soup because their extra rich soup made us sick. Almost killed a few of them that overate themselves. The rest is history. I made it back home. I'm here.
Safe and sound.
Every day's a bonus.
Yeah. And just last question, what was the reason they told you to go to the Europe to fight? Like what was the superiors in America saying, why did you have to fight over there? To protect America or to protect other countries? What was the
Well, I think,
or was there any reason at all?
oh, there definitely was a reason. We couldn't sit by
And let the Germans take everything.
and let this happen.
Thank you.
I would do it again. I just hope, I wished that some of the kids in this country could understand. I'm not on camera.